So one woman said, "Please help, I have a 12-week-old toy poodle. We just brought him home. While with previous owners, he would sleep with them in their bed." Then they also said, "We're trying to puppy crate train, but have been unsuccessful. Any tips or ideas to get him to stop crying, barking, trying to escape while in crate?" One, I'll say this, I feel for you. And while that sounds like it's pretty normal for most dogs coming into a new home who have been outside of a crate, sleeping in the bed, they have an association that is not crate related, so they want to be with us who you whining at? So they want to be with us at all times. But it doesn't sound like it's severe crate anxiety, so it's very likely going to be easy to work through to a certain degree. So what I would try first is you got to get them on a schedule. So what happens outside the crate actually affects what happens inside the crate. So if he's out of the crate, he's free roaming all over your house. There's no leash on him. There's no structure. There's no rooms he has to stay in. There's no training happening, structured training, come, play, sit, down, drop it, leave it, fetch, all that kind of stuff. We don't have a routine for him. Then you guys are probably going to need to add that. Because if he stays out of the crate, he gets to do whatever he wants. And then he goes back in the crate and he has the expectation of going to sleep, relaxing, and settling for a prolonged period of time. He's going to revolt against the cause. He says, "There's no way that's happening. I just had all this freedom, and now you just want to take that away from me." So dogs don't rationalize. They don't say, "Well, mom and dad are putting me in the crate because it's safe, and that's where I'm going to be most comfortable in 6 weeks or 6 months, depending on how long it takes." They don't rationalize any of that. They say, "I got love outside of crate. You put me in crate. I bark to let you know I'm frustrated." It's very simple, very straightforward, very primal thinking. So you can help him settle more in the crate by giving more structure outside of the crate. We had a couple tips coming too for what people were writing, and I like the feeding in crate. That's a great piece of advice. The adding toys and blanket, not a huge fan of that one because crate is supposed to be rest, relaxation, and eventual sleep. But I don't mind doing maybe a Kong toy with a little bit of peanut butter in there because licking actually creates calm. It stimulates the brain and pushes out an endorphin that helps them settle more regularly. So you could do a little Kong, proper size, a little bit of peanut butter in there. Make sure you do all natural peanut butter, no salt, no safflower oil. Can't have any of that junk in there because it's not good for them. But yeah, you just want to do as many things as you can to acclimate into the crate and help them settle down. Feeding builds positive association. Kong helps them lick and kind of work through some of that initial anxiety. It might help them settle a little bit quicker. But some of the biggest things we do is we cover crates with towels. And I know it's hot. It's really, really hot days. I mean, even here in Redondo, we have some days that are 80 degrees. It's a bit too hot for a covered crate, but you can create a little slit in the crate, put a fan pointing towards the slit, and you can circulate some air in that crate. And then I would also do a white noise machine to provide some stimulation noise that kind of blocks out all the things outside of the room. And then I might even do a noise cube, like a little sound cube or a Google Home or a Amazon Alexa little thingy, little circle thingy. Kimberly, what do we got? Whatever those Amazon Alexa things are. What do you call them? The dot thing. So you can play music on it and you can actually control the music even if you're at work. You can play a soundtrack from work and restart the current soundtrack that they're listening to. And all this does is it helps their brain settle down. The white noise machine blocks out outside stimulus. The fan will also kind of do that with some of the noise it produces. And then the music box can do a Friends soundtrack, Will and Grace, Big Bang Theory, The Office. You can choose whatever you want. But what those soundtracks do is it gives the dog something to listen to. It gives their brain something to focus and tune in on that's not us and the things that we're doing in our house. But one of the biggest things and most important things to do is that crate should not be in a main thoroughfare. It's like me taking my sleeping bag to PCH, which is one of the main highways in LA, and putting my sleeping bag in the middle median and trying to take a nap while cars are going by and people are walking by and homeless guys are poking me in the head. All of that is overstimulating. It's hard for a dog to settle in that environment. So I'd move that crate to the least used room throughout the day. If you got a couple kids and you tend to spend some time in your room as a way of getting away from them, that's not a good spot for it. If you spend only really your nights in the bedroom, that's a great place for the crate. It's quiet, it's dark, or as dark as you can make it with that towel, and it's gonna help them settle a lot quicker. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. If they still bark, I want you to ignore it. Oh, hi, Jack. I want you to ignore it. Most dogs will actually work through their anxiety and kind of bark it out for 10, 20, 30 minutes. Some dogs are worse. They can do for an hour, hour and a half sometimes, but they do usually work through it. If you have an easy dog, it might take 2 weeks or a week or a couple days. If you have a more difficult dog, you're going to have to be less permissive with the other things you do. Freedom. Can't be permissive with letting them roam the whole home. Getting into things, lots of overexertion and play and hand play and nipping and jumping, things like that. These are all things that will affect how your dog does in the crate because they see your permissiveness in some categories. And I'm not saying you are, but you probably are in some way without even realizing it. But I don't know you, so I don't know if it actually is true or not. But pull back on some of those things and you'll find a better balance. And the final piece of advice that I'll give, and this is advice I get torn apart on, I want you to cut down on affection. And that's if the other stuff doesn't work and you're at your wits end and you're thinking about rehoming this dog because you just can't do it. Consider minimizing affection and in its place, supplement training. Your dog has an expectation of you. I want love and I want it now. It's like the little kid having a temper tantrum in the middle of like Albertsons. We can't have the temper tantrum, you ignore it, and then eventually say there's a consequence for it later on, and they stop doing it because of that. You can't feed into it, and they start finding other coping mechanisms like going to sleep. Because most puppies should be sleeping in their crate. Under 6 months, I'd say about over 6 months, 16 to 20 hours. Under 6 months, you're looking at probably like 17 to 20, 18 to 20. That's usually a good number for you to follow. Let's read through some of this other advice you were given, Bella. And this is for a similar question, which was, what if your dog hates the crate? How do you fix that? Everything I just said applies to this question. But then a lot of people tried to give in some tips. So let's read through some of these tips. We'll see which ones are good, which ones could be improved. Try to get them a big crate so they have space to make it fun. Leave treats, toys. If that doesn't work, get a playpen. Playpen is great, I don't mind that, and I would advise that if you kind of are about to give up on crate. However, I will completely disagree with the getting a big crate. Puppies who are in big crates tend to pace and build anxiety. With a crate that is, let's say my crate was as big as, or Jack is the dog I'm going to put in a crate. My crate is only this big, about the length of his body and about 3 inches more on both sides, about this wide, about the same but maybe 5 or 6 inches on both sides, and then high enough to where if he sits and puts his head up, his head isn't bumping the top of the crate. I don't thank you. Thank you for the kisses. But you just want him to be comfortable. He should be able to do a full turn, lay down, and if he's a stretcher, he stretches out and extends out his legs. You might have to get a longer one or a large one because of that. But if he's more of a curler, he only needs to do a full circle, down, and be able to sit without his head touching the top. Anything more than that, and dogs will start pacing, and the more a dog paces, the more anxiety they build, and eventually they hit a climax of anxiety. It's what we call loading, and when they hit that, bark, 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 they react to it. So I would not advise a large crate. I would advise a smaller crate for the reasons that I mentioned. And then getting them used to being alone in the crate by constantly rewarding behavior you want, day by day, it will get better. That's a possibility, but also they're never getting used to being by themselves because you're never actually leaving them for a longer period of time in the crate. But I might try a different approach. I might try that when I put them in the crate, I reward them for going in the crate. When I release them from the crate, I don't reward them coming out of the crate. So I build a positive association of going into the crate, and it's a neutral response for coming out of the crate. So the reward of going in is the main reward to build up the love for the crate. And then when I bring them out of the crate, most dogs when they come out of the crate, they have and I should say this, most dogs with anxiety who come out of the crate, they don't come out of the crate like do. It's like crate door opens and they're shooting out of it like it's the greatest thing in the world. Close the door. They try to come out hot, just close the door. Provide an obstacle that prevents them. The crate is your first big threshold most people work on. So if he's coming out of that crate hot, his association is a negative association because he wants to come out of the crate. If you can stop him from coming out of the crate and getting him to settle, you unlock a different perspective that he has. That perspective is when you're in the crate, you can be calm, which is like rewriting his genetic code if his hate for the crate is as strong as you guys think it is. But when you start creating calm routines using the crate, walking him up to the crate, having him sit, going in the crate for food, giving him a treat when he's in there and he's relaxing. Close the door, opening it, releasing him, repeat. You're creating a training routine to help you build that positive association to him being in the crate. So I don't think I would reward him frequently in the crate. I think I would do it when I put him in the crate, when I bring him out of the crate. And if I hear a really, really severe whining, I ignore whining. Whining is a coping mechanism. It's him trying to work through the anxiety. If I hear the yip and I hear the bark, I could walk up to the door that he's behind and tap the door. Hey, settle down. You see the response I got from Jack? It wasn't even for him, but he instantly looked. We call it disagreeing with the behavior. So just to clarify, we're not hitting the dog. Don't hit the dog. But you're hitting the door to the crate or the door to the bedroom, and it's a light, hey, 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 settle down. It comes more from the voice. I know, good job, Jack. You settled down very nicely. It comes more from the voice and energy. No affection, inflection. It's all neutral. What's our next one? I like these. These are good. But I'm also seeing some really great information in here. Not all of it is exactly down the line of what I'd go for, but you guys have some great ideas. Next one is ignore the demand barking, reward quiet and calm in the crate. During the day, practice crate training by throwing treats. And, I don't have anything past the and. Oh, and getting them used to it was a part 1 and part 2. Gotcha. All right, Aiden, I rescind some of my information about your advice. The first half of your advice, love it. Ignore the demand barking. By rewarding, if you take him out of the crate or you go acknowledge it, you're rewarding the demand barking. So Aiden, I'm with you on that one. Yes, 100% for the first part, but again, not a big fan of the second part of throwing treats in the crate, but to each their own. Now, Sophia, let them cry. It's okay, they'll learn. Don't give them much attention. I think this is a 2-part. So the let them cry, that's basically let them cry it out, not feeding into demand barking. And the next one is, it's okay, they'll learn, don't give them much attention. I think she means that for when they're outside of the crate, which is if we give a ton of affection, I walk Jack up and I'm like, okay, bud, I'll see you in a little bit. I'll see you in an hour. Okay, you're a good boy. I put him in the crate. I just opened a can of worms. For the next 10 minutes, this dog's gonna try to get off my lap. He's gonna start whining a lot more. He'll start expecting more attention, but that's what that permissiveness for affection gets, which is it creates more of that demanding personality. I know this is like the cutest dog ever, right? We love Jack. But you allow that demanding personality to come out by giving too much affection right before they go in the crate. They go in the crate, they're saying, what the heck, are you crazy? I just got all this love. Now you want me to be by myself? Let me show you what I think about that. Bark, 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 bark. And then they just can't handle being by themselves. So lots of great advice in here. Some of the stuff we kind of had to play with a little bit, but honestly, these comments were fire today. Very good. Thanks for watching, guys. For more ways we can help you with your puppy, check out thepuppyacademy.com for our online school. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you can keep up with all of our latest puppy tips.